All right, here you go, JR. This your little video. All right, so on this, I'm gonna go ahead and back this thing off. So go until it's real loose, and then it just wants to barely touch. Okay, so that's fully off. So this one on this side here is read out in PSI. This is your line pressure. So whatever you have coming through the regulator into your line. This gauge over here is going to tell you what's in your tank. So if you read that inner ring, the little red ring, that's read out in PSI. The one on the outside's kilopascals. So yeah, so when you turn this thing on, go ahead and open it all the way up. Now you see that first gauge came on. Now keep going until this just wants to stop, okay? Don't force it or anything like that, but just nice and easy, and then when it wants to stop. You can see mine, I'm reading right here about 1800 PSI. And over here, we got 0 read out. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna increase this. I run mine at about 15 PSI. Now, of course, I'm indoors, and it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll go down to 10. Sometimes I'll go back up to 15. It kind of just depends on how good a shooting you want and whatnot. In a windy environment, you might want to bump that up a little bit. But yeah, so then this is my little machine, little Lincoln. So what I'll do to test it, I turn down the wire feed. So I turned it all the way down to nothing. Doesn't really matter what your voltage is at. And that way, when I hit the thing, you can hear the gas come out, but no wire feeds. So I save my wire that way. But you'll see the you should have over here on your line pressure. This should actually dip just a little bit, and that's kind of what you want. But that's how, if you get it set way too high, let's say it's like up there to 20, and you want to step it down. Now notice if I back it back off, it doesn't want to go away. But if you want to get it there, then you go ahead and just release the gun a little bit. Don't touch it to anything, and then it'll release the gas out of there. So, and that's actually that's a good point, because that's actually how I go ahead and shut it off. So this is how I shut it off, and I'll leave it at 15 PSI. I'll leave it set if I'm not if I'm coming back to welding relatively quickly. I'll go ahead and I'll leave that thing set to 15 PSI or whatever I was at. It's not good to store those long term for, like, year plus all the way in or at a pressure setting, but it's okay for a little bit. All right, and then you go ahead and bleed your system. Slowly tap on it, and you'll watch the gauges bleed out. I tap it because even at the 0 setting, if I hold it, it still feeds a little bit of wire. So I'll just go ahead and tap it until it gets to 0. So that's that.